oftentimes the hater finds himself talking about a lot of things that do not interest the hater just for the sake of this channel. So for example, when I do a review like I did today about the Wednesday Night Wars, which typically are pretty entertaining for me to watch, right? Like I enjoy watching the Wednesday Night Wars there, motherfucks. Like I enjoy watching NXT sometimes, and oftentimes I tolerate AEW as well, you know? Like they're not the most enjoyable shows, but the fact that they're on head-to-head is fun in and of itself. But this week, both the episodes, one of them I didn't get to watch, the AEW one, but it sounded like shit. And then the NXT one was just very bland. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just very, very bland. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a fun episode. It was just, here's a wrestling show to pass the time, you know? Nothing was furthered. Nothing happened, right? We had a Skype call, for God's sakes, between Regal and Adam Cole. Who gives a fuck? So I decided to do a video that I know I'm going to enjoy, where I can make some jokes, laugh, and not worry about the intricacies of wrestling, motherfucks. So, without further ado, cuckolds, it's time for the long-awaited 25 reasons why the revival sucks ass, motherfuckers. The revival, the revolt, FTR. I don't know what FTR means. Let's Google that shit real fast. FTR dash Wilder. What the fuck does that mean? FTR. Are they just called the FTR now? Why are they called the FTR? What does FTR stand for? Oh, Fear the Revolt. Oh my god, that's even worse. That should be a reason in and of itself. I didn't include it in the list because I didn't know what it was. But alright, welcome to 26 reasons why the revival sucks, motherfuckers. Reason 1, they now call themselves FTR. Fear the Revolt. Fear the Revolt. Why don't you go fuck yourselves? How about that? Fear the Revolt. And it should be called FUS. Fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? With a U. Anyways, reason 1 on the list of 25 reasons. They are small and they are short, motherfucks. We talked about them being called FTR, but this is the real true first reason. They are small and they are short. There's nothing special about these guys by just looking at them. If you were to take a team like Cesaro and, what the fuck's that? I was like Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, and you just have them wrestle, it would be the same thing as the Revival, except they are better than the Revival. Because they are not small and short. I mean, Tyson Kidd's a little small, but Cesaro is not small nor short. These guys are both small and short. They don't stand out. This is a big problem with wrestling today. People like Kofi Kingston, people like these two motherfucks, Finn Balor, all these jabrones, don't stand out. If you see Kofi Kingston on the street, you'd be like, oh, that guy must like I don't know, like swim or something, because he's got a very svelte build. He's not this like jacked up dude, you know? It is what it is. Like, I watched a movie called The Invisible Man last night. It was all right. It had that guy from, if anyone watched the show Leverage, the guy, the black guy from Leverage, I forget his name, right? And this guy was jacked now. Like, he had like gained a lot of muscle. And I'm like, I looked at him and I'm like, man, this guy is like bigger than most wrestlers. And he's just an actor. You know what I mean? Like, you turn on the TV, you see Jake Gyllenhaal. He's like bigger than most wrestlers. And he's a tiny little guy. You know, he's not like a big dude. But anyways, that's reason 1. Reason 2. Their names, motherfuckers, their names were and are stupid. When I wrote this second reason, I was thinking about the names of Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. Or is it, I always confuse it. Dash and Dawson. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. That's probably it. Right now they're Dax Hardwood and like some other guy. I forget his name. Let's just have the article pulled up. Let's look it up. Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Cash Wheeler? Come on, Cash Wheeler? That's just a stupid name. Cash? Really? Come on. That's a stupid name. Their names are dumb. And as a result, I don't like them, motherfuckers. 3. The Revival is a dumb name. It is vague on purpose and it does not sound cool. But all of a sudden, I'm starting to like the name The Revival because it's better than FTR, Fear the Revolt. What is the Revolt? This name has the same problem as the Revival. It's like, what's the Revival? What are you a revival of? Are you reviving boring wrestling? No flips, just kicks? You know what I'm saying? I actually kind of like that as a concept, right? Where it's like, yo, we're going to do like some cool moves that aren't kick and flips. Like the Shatter Machine is a cool move. I mean, it's cool in the context of like, you know, derivative moves. It's basically like the 3D, but like not as cool. But because the 3D is so cool, it's like cool in comparison. You know what I mean? So there you have it, motherfuckers. That's how that goes. But yeah, that's a pretty good reason I believe there by myself. Then next up we have reason 4, motherfuckers. Reason 4. Reason 4 is they botch a lot of moves. These guys botch like nobody else's business. I mean, I can't really explain it, but they just, for some reason, continuously botch several moves. This is a problem. Typically, when they botch the blind tag spot all the time. Like, they make it look so shitty. They do it, and it's like anyone would notice that they did a blind tag, you know? They're just not that good at, like, selling the moves and doing them as well, motherfuckers. Reason 5. They are a generic tag team. Their entire gimmick is, we are generic as fuck. You know, we're so generic that we're just going to pretend we're the revival of something better than us, presumably, right? That's not cool. They're not cool. Reason 6. Jim Cornette likes them. And my opinion on Jim Cornette has changed substantially since his comments on Becky Lynch making a dumb decision to get pregnant, which is a stupid thing to say and none of his fucking business. Also, when I listen to a lot of Jim Cornette things, this fucking tryhard trying to act like the hater. You understand what I'm saying, motherfuckers? And that's fine. He's been doing that for a long time, long before I started talking. But let's be real. I can sense it in him. I can see it in him. He is not cut out for this. He's not this guy that says fucking shit. This is like a put on for him. He's not this guy. He's a fucking Melvin. Stick to the books, nerd. Shut up, Jim Cornette. Reason number 7. They think they are better than they are. This is a very important reason. These guys think they're like this underrated tag team. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you were good at NXT for like a year. Let's not forget, motherfucks, these guys' careers was like basically 1 year in NXT. They haven't really done anything in the main roster. So after this 1 year of teaming together, they're like, oh, we're underrated. Are ya? Are you really? You know what I'm saying? Reason number 8. You know what I'm saying? That's 8 for you non-bilinguals up in here. They did not take the money. They did not take the money WWE offered them, and they opted to go to AEW. Now, this sparks up a lot of different points. One of them is this. Take the money, you fucking cucks. Just take the damn money. You're not good enough. You know, you'll never have an opportunity like that again, most likely, to make that much money. That's just never going to happen. Now, I know they're both probably doing very well, you know, and they can start a wrestling school or a podcast or something down the line. I'm sure they got options. They're not going to, like, starve to death or anything like that. But let's be real, motherfuckers. Let's be real. Take the damn money, all right? Stop making it a big deal. You're being offered a lot of money to do something that's, like, easy as shit to do if you know how to do it, right? And you should take the money only because not taking the money makes you seem like ungrateful little shits. Like you want more than you deserve, you know? And fine, go to AEW. See how that works out, motherfuckers. Reason 9, which is a tandem of with reason 8. Reason 9, they wrestle for the glory and not for the money. Here's the problem, motherfuckers. This whole wrestling for the glory is retarded. Wrestling is a fake sport. One of my friends and I were talking, and I was like, yo, this is when a wrestler wins a championship, it's not a big deal. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because it's a fake sport. You didn't really win a contest. And he was like, oh, it's important. He's like, it's important because it's kind of like if you're an actor and you are, you know, picked to play Batman, let's say, right? And it's like, all right, I get it. You know, it's like a career achievement. Like people think you're good enough to be Batman. But let's be real. That, like the whole Batman element, that's more like an achievement because it means a lot of money. Because you'll probably do a few sequels and you'll get fat paid for those sequels. You know what I mean? It's not because you're like this great actor and now you've been chosen to play the very hard role of Batman. You fucking kidding me? So take the money. The glory isn't there. The glory isn't there, motherfucks. As Scott Steiner once said, if you're in this business for anything other than the money, you're a mark, right? You've deluded yourself into thinking that you are good at something that you're not. You know, like you can be a good entertainer, of course. You can be good at, you know, performing the moves, like actually going through the emotions. But you're not like a good pro wrestler, like you would be good at like UFC or like you would be good at basketball or any other sport where being good has actual metrics. Like you scored this many points, you scored this many touchdowns, you threw this many interceptions, this many sacks, tackles, etc. Right? Like that's not the case for wrestling. Wrestling doesn't work that way. Wrestling's fake. So there's no glory in it. Like it doesn't matter if you're like the main eventer in TNA or if you're the jobber in WWE. Right? This means nothing. You know, Steve Blackman was a jobber, and Steve Blackman would beat the shit out of Dean Ambrose. You know what I mean? He'd beat the shit out of like probably almost everyone in WWE at the time. Yeah, but he was a jobber. Like you'd have The Rock come out there and whoop his ass. In reality, Steve Blackman would break The Rock in 3 pieces. You know what I mean? He was like a real martial artist, and not one of these pussy ones, like a real one, motherfuckers, with the sticks and everything. You know? But he was a jobber. Doesn't mean you're like a tougher guy or anything like that. Doesn't mean you're better at your job, right? R-Truth is a way better wrestler than Dawson. You know what I'm saying? He's a way better wrestler than a lot of like main event guys, both in the ring, and he has a lot more charisma. But he's a jobber, and he does that role well. You need someone. The world needs ditch diggers too, motherfuckers. Except the problem is, in wrestling, the ditch digger that works for WWE, the jobber, gets paid more than like one of the top stars of AEW. You understand what I'm saying? And there's a reason for that, motherfuckers. Because WWE has the better performers, typically. Right? I'm not saying that everyone in WWE is better than everyone in TNA or AEW for that matter. That would be a stretch. But that's kind of what it means, right? It's like, if you'd rather make like $500,000 working for a guy and you're the champion, or make $1 million, right, working for WWE where you can be in video games, you have the opportunity to maybe be in movies, to have a legacy, to have like a real job in a company that's not going to go away in 20 minutes, you know what I mean? Take that. If you do it for the glory, you are a mark. And therefore, the Revival are marks, motherfuckers. Reason number 10. They have had no meaningful feuds in WWE. Even in NXT, I would argue they had no meaningful feuds. They had some good matches, right? Them versus American Alpha. You know, they had some good matches, but no meaningful feuds, right? And insofar as like that goes, in WWE main roster, they sure as shit have had no meaningful feuds. The most memorable part of the Revival was when they were the lackeys for Randy Orton and Shane for like a while. You know, they were Randy Orton for a while, they were with Shane for a while. That's it. Other than that, no one gives a fuck. You know? Reason number 11. They had no meaningful matches in WWE, motherfuckers. No meaningful matches in WWE. Now, they won the NXT titles, and they won I think the Raw, or maybe SmackDown, or maybe both tag team championships, but none of that meant anything. They were clearly transitional champions to make room for the tag team du jour that was there to win the titles to further different points. That entire division was and continues to be buried by Braun Strowman single-handedly. Braun Strowman humiliated the tag team division by winning that tag team battle royal. Braun Strowman then picked a kid as his partner and humiliated the division once more. And now at Backlash, it's going to be Braun Strowman versus Miz and Morrison for the Universal title, which almost certainly means Braun Strowman is going to squash these two jabrones like they're a bunch of nothings. You know what I'm saying? There you go, motherfuckers. That right there was reason 11. Reason 12, motherfuckers. The Smarks pretend they like them because they left. The fact that they left means fucking zero to your boy and to anyone who likes wrestling, except for the Smarks. The Smarks think this is some honorable, noble thing, you know? They really were set ablaze by fucking CM Punk's little cuck bomb promo where he was like, why is it that Tyson Kidd works harder than John Cena, but John Cena gets the main event title? Gee, maybe it's because John Cena makes more money for the company than Tyson Kidd, who has not drawn a dime in his entire career. Do you understand what I'm saying? Maybe that's why, motherfucks. CM Punk complained. He went to the top, and he drew less than the previous champions, right? He had, in my opinion, a really shitty title run, right? He was like out there in like the co-main event. He was never the main event guy, almost never, right? And when he was, it was because The Rock was there to put him in the main event, or because it was like Elimination Chamber or something like that, where you had like 5 other dudes that needed a spot. So there you go, motherfuckers. That's what I have to say about that shit right there, cucks. You know what I mean? The fans like him because they left. Because CM Punk gave that bullshit speech suggesting that somehow working hard in wrestling is what should put you ahead. That's ridiculous. That's the same argument that the U.S. national women's soccer team makes. Their argument is like, well, we do better than the men. How come we don't get paid more? Because it's not about if you perform or not. Sport isn't about that. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. Look at the Redskins. They haven't won shit for years. But it doesn't matter. They draw money. Who gives a fuck? Like they probably, like the Redskins and the Cowboys, I would assume, draw more than like maybe even the Patriots. You know, but the Patriots are the champs. It doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck? You get paid if you like, or the Yankees, right? The Yankees, like the way that the Yankees are paid and the amount of money that goes in the Yankees and the amount of money that goes into like the NBA, they should be, and like the Lakers and shit like that, the Lakers should never lose like the NBA championship. The Yankees should never lose the MLB, the World Series, right? It should never happen. Yet it does. So think about that, motherfuckers. Think about that. Why? It doesn't matter though, because the Yankees draw money. You know, everyone in New York has a Yankees hat or a Mets hat, bitch. That's how it works. So that's what matters. And it's the same thing with wrestling, right? CM Punk being like, oh, look, Gallo should get a push. Why should he get a push? Because he did great character work as Festus? Who gives a fuck? Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Reason 13. They represent the Smarks' wet dreams of wrestlers leaving WWE. Right now, Matt Hardy has left, and now the Revival has left, motherfuckers. The Revival and Matt Hardy have actually jumped ship. But like I said many weeks ago, when we first started discussing the possibility of the Revival jumping ship, like I said, the Revival are not going to attract any fans. For example, if I hadn't watched AEW this week, which I didn't, but I was planning on it anyways, right? I would not think to myself, oh, I didn't watch this because it's shit. Oh, but now the Revival's debuting, so I have to watch. That's not how wrestling works, motherfuckers. That just isn't how it works. That's how it worked back in the day during the Monday Night Wars, because people that were jumping ship weren't like established stars. Oh shit, Kevin Nash is going to these WCW. I'm gonna watch. Bret Hart's leaving. Fuck, I'm gonna watch. Even like, oh, Jeff Jarrett's leaving. Oh, that's kind of neat. Let's see what he's gonna do there. You know, Jericho, all these guys. They were like established people. You know, they weren't like some generic throwaway tag team. But nonetheless, this represents the wet dreams of the Smarks, and I don't like that shit, motherfucker. I don't like these smarky wet dreams that they have. You know. Reason 14. The Revival, or FTR as they're now known, FTR. You know what I'm saying? They have declared themselves several times as being the best wrestlers, the best tag team on the planet, right? This is horseshit. Nothing about them screams best tag team. Nothing about the Young Cucks screams best tag team. Furthermore, kayfabe-wise, what the fuck's his name? Kenny Omega and Adam Page are the NXT tag champs. So what the fuck are you talking about? What makes these motherfuckers the best tag team, you know? They're not even tag team champions. They weren't when they left, and they're not now. So this idea, like JR keeps telling us, oh, in his opinion, the Young Bucks are still the best tag team in the world. How? How are they the best tag team? The only metric that might even matter is how many wins they have on TV or on pay-per-views. And they don't have that many, right? They're not like the best tag team by that metric, number one. Two, motherfuckers, it's a fake sport. You heard it here, motherfuckers. It's a fake sport. And furthermore, fundamentally, it's not like the Young Bucks are out there innovating these awesome moves week in and week out. They have their same 6-7 moves they do. They just do those moves, and for some reason, they're the best tag team. You know who else does that? Every other tag team, motherfuckers. Hybrid 2 has their 7 moves that they do. They do those, but no one says they're the best tag team. What makes the Revival or the Young Cucks a better tag team than if I take Arya Devar or than for example, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne? What makes them better than them? Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne have their spots and their moves, and the Young Bucks have theirs. What makes them better, motherfuckers? What makes them better? Like, if you look at a tag team like the Hardy Boys, right? Or the Dudleys, or even Edge and Christian, you can make an argument that these are like some of the best tag teams ever, because the Dudley Boys, first of all, had incredible spots. Every match with Dudley Boys had like crowd-popping spots. Not, oh, more bang for your buck, indie taker, not that kind of stupid shit. I'm talking about like Dudley Boys putting people through tables, the 3D coming out of nowhere a lot of times. The what's up? You know what I'm saying? That was awesome as shit, right? And the fact that after the match, the Dudley Boys did cool things, right? They put women through tables. They had the whole diva and get the table spot. You know what I mean? They were like hardcore wrestlers too, so you could put them in like a hardcore match, and they would excel in that, putting motherfuckers through tables, through burning tables, all this shit. That's why they were cool, and more importantly, they were cool. Like, they were just cool guys. Bubba Ray, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time on the mic. He's probably in my top 5 all time on the mic. You know, Bubba Ray was awesome, and Devon was awesome too. He was just overshadowed by the slightly better Bubba Ray, but Devon is great. Devon never botched anything. Bubba Ray never botched anything. So that's why they're better. Whereas these jabrones aren't that good, motherfucks. You have it. You know what I'm saying? Reason 15. Wrestling is fake, motherfucks. Wrestling is fake. So the Revival and the Young Cucks, right, are participating in a fake sport. And in this fake sport, we want to see which one of these teams would come out on top. Now, from a booking perspective, it will be interesting to see where this puts the Revival. You know, I don't see them losing this match, but in reality, it's like, who gives a flying fuck? At the end of the day, the Young Bucks are being primed for their inevitable, like, longest tag team title reign of all time. They're going to have like an Okada-esque career. They're going to like win the tag team titles for like a year, right? They're going to lose it for like 2 months and then win it for another year and a half. It's going to be some shit like that, you know. They're going to be like the John Cena's of the tag team division, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why they're considered the best, because they consistently have belts on them, you know. which I don't know how I feel about, but it is what it is, motherfuckers. What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do, right? Reason 16. The Revival have no moves. They have no moves, motherfuckers. They have the Shatter Machine, and for a while they had that little leg lock and then jumping stomp combination thing. But they have no moves. Their entire wrestling matches are them doing working holds, rest holds, and shit like that, right? That's all they do. They just tag each other out, and they kick the guy in the stomach, and they do like headlocks, right? For some reason, when Randy Orton does this, he's a boring wrestler. And I agree to an extent. But when the Revival does this, they're incredible wrestlers. Now you ask yourself, what sets Randy Orton apart from the Revival? I'll tell you. I mean, I think it's fucking like super simple, but you know, let's be real, right? What is it? It's the fact that Randy Orton is great on the mic, is charismatic, and looks like a star. So there you have it, motherfuckers. They have no moves, and that is inexcusable, especially for a tag team. Reason 17. They have never, as far as I know, cut a promo. You know what I'm saying? They have had a career where they get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in entertainment and have never opened their mouths. If this doesn't scream they're replaceable by literally everyone, I don't know what does, motherfuckers. I don't know what does. Earlier in my video today, I said, why is it that Oni Lorcan, right, doesn't have the spot of someone like Timothy Thatcher? And the only reason I can come up with is for some reason, Oni Lorcan might be more charismatic than fucking what's-his-face. The Thatcher guy, motherfucks, might be more charismatic than Oni Lorcan. I don't know this yet. We haven't really seen this yet. You know what I'm saying? But, like, that could be the only explanation. Otherwise, I don't really see why he's being pushed. Likewise, I don't see why the Revival is so great when we have not seen them do anything yet, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? We have not seen them actually perform at any capacity yet. Reason 18, motherfuckers. They have no charisma. They have no charisma, motherfuckers. Zero charisma from these guys. I don't see it. Reason 19. They are not cool, motherfuckers. They are not cool. And that's very important. They want to give off this impression that they are simply cool by virtue of the fact that they have wrestling matches. However, I don't see it, and I don't agree, motherfuckers. So there you have it up in this mug. You know what I'm saying? Reason 20. Reason 20, motherfuckers. They don't realize that character entertainment are better than wrestling skills, because if they did, they would spend some time being entertaining. They would spend some time being entertaining. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Like, they would try to get some promo time. They would try to say a few things. They would try to have some mannerisms in the ring. They would try to have actual characters. But it seems like they don't try to do any of these things. They think that just going out there and doing a wrestling match makes them worthy and good enough somehow to be good wrestlers. Now, your boy doesn't agree with that. So that's what I got to say about that, motherfuckers. What do you think of them apples? You know what I'm saying? What else? Next up, motherfuckers. This is a good one. They have no wrestling skill. No wrestling skill between these two motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That's a big problem. You know what I mean? That is a big problem. There is nothing here that suggests that they're good wrestlers. As we said above, all they do is rest holds, right? They're not really doing anything special. So what the fuck is so great about these two cucks? You know, what is it that makes these guys so important? I think nothing makes them important, and I think they suck ass. You know what I'm saying? Reason 22. Apparently, the FTR, as they're called, have turned down or had turned down a gimmick change in WWE, which shows how much they understand wrestling. A gimmick change is a way to make yourself relevant again. You know what I mean? Like the people that are in charge realize that you cannot market to fat guys who are short and just go around saying we're the Revival. You can't. That's not interesting to anyone. So with that in mind, why in the blue hell would anyone, motherfucks, why would anyone refuse a gimmick change? I don't give a shit what the gimmick is. Do as you're told, and maybe people will like you more. Maybe you'll make them laugh if you're a goofy tag team. Like, look at Fandango and Tyler Breeze. They had a gimmick change and people love them. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Revival should have done. You know, they didn't take it, they can kiss my ass. What do you think of that? Reason 23, motherfuckers. I recently bought WWE 20. The reason I bought it, even though it had shit reviews and I knew I wasn't really going to enjoy it as I previously have those games, is because I realized that I have bought every single WWE game since, even before, but since the SmackDown series started, which led to WWE 2K20, right? This is like the same series, I guess you could say. I have bought all of them every year since the year like 2000, 2001. You know what I mean? So I'm like, why wouldn't I buy it? And it was on sale. I think it still is. So it was on sale on the PlayStation Network, the whole like with the DLC and everything for $17.99. So I was like, fuck that. Even if I play it like an hour, that's worth it, you know? And I'm going to play it more because it's still kind of fun. But anyways, it is what it is, motherfuckers. So in that game, the Revival is rated too high. They are rated too high in the game. Like Bray Wyatt is like an 82 or some shit, and the Revival I think is like 83. The Fiend is like an 86. Like who gives a fuck about the Fiend and Bray Wyatt? But the Revival being rated that high, that's just ridiculous. They're just a bunch of jobbers. You know, so they're rated higher than like Luke Harper. You know, so by the WWE's logic, they should go be main eventers in AEW. You know what I'm saying? Recent 24. They got some fat asses, motherfuckers. They got some fat asses. This is the second time we have to invoke the legendary Scott Steiner. And maybe I'll do a video about Scott Steiner being awesome. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna do it next. I might do it right now, actually. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. So as Scott Steiner said back in the day about Samoa Joe, he's got a fat ass. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not cool. He's fat. You know what I'm saying? That's not cool, motherfuckers. So there you have it. And then reason 25. Say yeah. Oh my God. Is there anything more cringy than that? Say yeah. Oh my God. I'm surprised Michael Cole doesn't go around saying, these guys like to say yeah. You know what I'm saying? That kind of horseshit Michael Cole commentary. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it, motherfuckers. These are 25 solid reasons why the fucking FTR, the Revival, Secret and Roy, whatever you want to call them, this is why they suck. So recognize that, motherfucker.